I I regret the degree to which I have a sensitive sleep schedule. I have to get
Ah,
between midnight and 1:15, or else if I go to bed at 1:16, I am dead the next day,
well,
unfortunately.
well, see, that's still less sensitive than me. Half the time I'm in bed right now.
Oh, geez. There you go, right?
I mean, it is not at all uncommon for me to be in bed right now. And for those
Right.
just joining us, welcome to the 22 Panels podcast. My guest tonight
There you
is
go.
Alexandra Bowman. The perils of hitting record while in the middle of conversations. People will be fine.
Right. We were already having such
Now
a good
they know
time.
all about your sleep schedule.
Right. Well, we were already having such a good conversation before we started recording.
Exactly,
We'll start
exactly. So,
capitalizing on it.
you know,
Yeah.
the other thing, and like you have been busy enough with your move that I don't think you've updated anything to say the award that I watched you get, and I've forgotten it. So, what were you given at CXC this year?
Yes, so I'm hello everybody. My name's Alexandra Bowman, like Tad said. I do political cartoons and a lot of other things, but I met
We'll
Tad.
get into some of the other stuff, I'm certain.
Yeah. We Tad and I met at a convention related to political cartoons. So I'm very, very honored to have received the inaugural Locher Fellowship from the Association of American Editorial Cartoonists this year. And that came with a special guestship at Cartoon Crossroads Columbus. And because it was inaugural, they said, "Hey, how can we make this useful for you, given the changing economy of work for young political cartoonists and young artists and young political people in general?" And I
How about
said,
just young people and
"Young
or
people,
cartoonists in
yeah,
general?
exactly.
I
Right,
mean,
right.
cartoonists, young or old.
Everybody. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And because, and I really appreciate that from them because I am essentially, I mean, I don't like generalizing, especially when the generalizations put me on a pedestal, but I
Right.
am one of very few cartoonists working now who are not retired. It's like at retirement age and have time and the financial resources to just do this full time, or
Right.
who have been cemented in the industry for
For a
many
long time.
decades and figured this out before the economy became what it is now. And I don't want to suggest it's that much worse than it used to be, but all evidence I've
Oh, I think they'll all tell
it's
you it's that
across
much worse. I mean, Jen
right, right,
Sorensen was
right.
talking about how much, I mean, she's been around for quite a while. She was
Right,
the
right. Yeah, right. I'm
and a
just
fan of
always
your work, by the way. I mentioned that you were coming
yeah.
on.
Thank
Um,
you. Yeah, I'm just
but
always reluctant to say
But
that
no, I mean,
deeply
one
bad
of the things we
because
talked about is how happy she is for the ACA and how she's worried about it because she
right.
wouldn't be able to do what she does if she and her husband couldn't be covered off of the exchanges. You,
Right. Oh
you
boy.
know.
Right, right, right.
um, I had Carol Lay on. Carol Lay's been at this even longer than Jen Sorensen, and she made certain to plug her Patreon, which supplements her
Right.
Social Security.
Right, right,
Um,
right, right. Right. But yeah, no, yeah, I'm
She
always
was also in the middle of a move.
oh, really? There you go. Yeah, and we'll get to that. But yeah, I'm just always concerned, especially
No, no, I
the
get it, particularly because you're a millennial and there's nothing Fox News likes more than to call millennials,
right.
uh,
Right. Well,
whiny, crybaby, non-working, whatever.
sure. Well, it comes from two primary motivations for me. It's one is just I think that I lose credibility when I suggest untruths, like I have it worse or significantly worse
Right.
than all others. But I want to be very careful to
That's fair.
be as accurate about my current situation as possible. Otherwise, I feel like people won't respect my opinions anymore.
No,
Second
I
thing
get it.
is, I mean, I think I'm kind of unique for doing that, and I think it gives me an edge on other people
Well, I hope so.
to be a
But
little
I'll
bit
stand up
jealous.
for you and say,
Thank you.
this is a hard world to be an artist or young.
Yeah.
I mean, I have kids that are actually I don't I mean you've got your MA, so what are you, 25, 26?
Yeah, I'm 24. So you said millennials.
Okay.
I'm actually elder Gen Z actually.
See, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so Yeah, but the Fox News people haven't figured out that Gen Z exists yet. They
Well,
think
I think they, yeah.
everybody under 40 is a millennial.
I think, yeah, I think they may have just found out who Gen Z is because of the election results and Nick Fuentes, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm
Don't
concerned
even.
they have found out about this new population to capitalize on.
I cannot believe the things that Nick Fuentes and some of the other people were saying immediately after the election.
Yeah, like I have not been, I admit it, and if he hears this, I don't really care what his mocking reaction will be. I have never been brought to tears by hate speech before. I've
I was
never,
brought to tears. I'm sitting there going,
yeah, I
your
just,
way of celebrating is to tell women you own them.
right, right, right. Well,
And then he wound up
yeah.
not being the worst of them, because there was another guy that when somebody described or somebody suggested that women go on a sex strike,
Right.
responded with, like, you'll have a choice. And it's like,
Right, right, right. And to be clear, I've been angry about hate speech before. Just I've never felt at such a loss. And I think
yeah,
that's partially a result of my I'm a quarter Asian but a white woman, and I think that's
right,
part of why. But I've never felt so devastated and mocked and furious, like to crying, but from
right,
somebody so hateful before. And I did see on Facebook the other day this reposted TikTok from a friend of his mom, and the lady had deleted the TikTok, but of course, thank goodness it's getting
right,
circulated. And apparently, there's a lot about the way that his mom raised him, where his sister was the mom's favorite, and he wasn't given help and therapy when he was very young and
right.
less responsible. And a lot of that has contributed to apparently to his reasons for hating women so much. So
There you go.
yeah, that
Having
was what I
empathy for
thought. And
somebody that I desperately don't want to have empathy for.
yeah,
I
right.
have that problem too, which is why I almost wish you hadn't shared that with me. I don't want
Yeah,
I hated learning how horrible Donald Trump's father was. I wanted him to have a
yeah.
story tale childhood and just be a monster.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, right? Is responsible now. He's
Yes,
26. He's two
yes,
years older than me.
right,
He, regardless of his childhood, has the responsibility now to educate himself. So he might not have been 100% responsible when he was 14, and apparently he was starting to be a little punk at 14.
right.
He is 300% responsible now. So I don't mean to
Yes.
absolve him of any of
No,
that.
I know. I didn't say you were
Yeah,
absolving him. I
yeah.
just said that it caused me to feel, I don't feel sympathy for him. I don't
Right.
feel like he's not responsible, but now I at least have a little bit of empathy
Right,
how he
right.
got there. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to.
Right. Right. Right, 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 right. Yeah, he needs to sit down and
And a
watch.
lot of listeners of this program are going to be surprised to hear me say that, because I literally am like the devil's advocate on everything.
Right. Well,
I am the look at
that's
it from
great.
this point of view, you know. I
Yeah.
know that that's horrible, but what led them to that?
Right.
He
Well,
was on a very short list with like Alex Jones and Donald Trump,
right.
people that I had zero empathy for, and now I have empathy for him, and that's your fault.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think more people should just have empathy or
Yeah.
look to find empathy for people they hate, not because it will
Oh, I
suddenly, justify the person's behavior, but I think, and
the
I gave a TED talk on this in college. I think that it's important that we understand where the other person's coming from
absolutely.
as we seek to counter them, because it will help us come up with arguments that actually cut to the chase.
Yeah,
And I think not doing that, by the way, is one of the reasons Trump won.
absolutely.
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah, uh-huh.
well, I mean, I still think I think more, and I know that this is going to sound mildly self-serving, but I think the
Oh,
left has tried really hard to be empathetic.
yeah, and but
I
yeah,
think in
yeah.
general, Americans have trouble with the language of empathy.
I think I know what you
A-
mean. Yeah.
I think that goes back to, I mean, really, it comes from, you start mostly a Puritan country, and then literally the first generation of Americans that don't have serious generational trauma is my generation.
Mm,
I'm right on the Gen X millennial bubble, and we're the first generation where most of us didn't go to war.
mm, mm-hmm.
And think of how little we've dealt with that.
Right.
So I
That's
think
true.
that part of the problem is the way the Democrats and the left empathize is they bend over. I mean, think about how much the Biden administration did for red states.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Like your dad or granddad, we still show empathy by doing things rather than by saying things.
Right, that's true. And the people who say things the loudest, regardless of how true or accurate they are or not, are the people who win 100%.
Right. Well,
Um,
and meanwhile, I mean, we're still in that point where saying empathetic things will get you labeled as weak. You're talking about your feelings. They act on their feelings. But because we talk about our feelings, and really because we talk about other people's feelings,
right.
we're these little snowflakes. So
Right.
I don't think it's as simple as the left doesn't show enough empathy and that's why they lose. I think this time around, as too often, empathy in general lost.
Agreed. Well,
There's a certain group of people that just don't want empathy. Empathy gets in the way of doing the things that they want to do.
right. And I think either it's a substitute word or a symptom or an umbrella over it. I'm not sure, probably all of them. Um, Critical thinking, I think, is a term or concept you could substitute in.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about empathy, at least in the context that immediately sticks out to me, we're talking about how does this policy affect those who are less fortunate, who might
Or
not,
even just
you
those
know,
who aren't me.
right, or those who are already screwed over by existing power or sociocultural dynamics. How is it affecting them? And
But I mean,
that,
I'll
yeah,
take empathy further than that.
yeah,
I try to put myself in the shoes of the people who are doing better than me too, and try to figure out what their perspective is. I mean, I'm a huge believer in the idea that there's almost nobody who's truly evil. I think everybody is the hero of their own movie. I think
mm,
everybody is doing what they think is best. Now,
mm.
their perspective on what's best means can be dramatically different.
Right. And it's hard to tell people from my, very privileged position where I just moved to New York and I was already in DC and I already
Right.
had an English bachelor's or English and art
You
bachelor's and
went
an
to
English
Georgetown.
master's. I was I was already a
and
coastal
and
elitist.
and not the
Yeah.
way Chad Bilyeu did. Did you get
Right,
to meet
right.
Chad? Did you get to meet Chad at the at CXC?
I'm not I got to admit I met so many people that a lot of
Okay.
names over my head. There's a chance I
Chad
did.
Chad has emigrated to Amsterdam. So his graphic novel is Chad from Amsterdam. Um, but he's currently got a comic series called The Re-Up, and it's about his time. He got into Georgetown through the back door. He was one of their AV guys, and if you are a full-time employee, you get to go to school there for free. So he didn't get in because he applied or whatnot. He got in because he applied for an AV job,
Right.
but he also sold weed through,
Right.
through and that's what the new comic is about.
That feels very Goodwill Hunting, at least from
Yeah,
what I remember.
yeah,
So-
yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah. But yeah, no, I was already a coastal elitist, and now I'm arguably even more of one. Um,
right.
I think
What,
that
because you write about Broadway and
that right, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think my entire website and Instagram could just have as many supporting pieces of evidence for that as you
I
want.
mean, you do have, well, no, that's the Mark Twain Prize. That's on the East Coast too.
Oh,
If it
that
was
was
just Mark Twain, that'd be in the middle of it.
Oh, that's a great argument for it because I was covering Jon Stewart winning a comedy award at the
Right.
Kennedy Center, which I'm sure that that Greg Gutfeld would love. The stand-up bits that were delivered and the Jon Stewart resume bullets that were celebrated that night. I'm sure he'd love it. But yeah,
Mm.
I doubt that my opinion, I'm not informed directly on the struggles of people in Pennsylvania who are lashing out and voting for Trump like this. But I would encourage them to think beyond the impact of the president's
Well,
identity on themselves.
yeah, I
Who am I
mean,
to say that? I get it, but you can see the impacts clearly in the statistics. And if you don't
yeah,
believe the news networks who are saying it, then I don't know what to tell you.
right. No, and that's actually my frustration is, um, and I live in the middle of America. I mean, I live near Chicago, but I've always lived in suburban Chicago. I've got actually probably as many routes to rural areas as I do to urban areas, which is why I was shocked last Tuesday. Um, because this is something Jen Sorensen and I talked about too, because she grew up rural. She had a great cartoon about like the lefty rural diner. Right? Why don't you come here?
Right. That's great.
um, I mean, these places don't have the type of majorities that a lot of people think they have. Um, because when you're smaller, 60% means 600 to 400. I mean, for a lot of towns, it's literally like 600 to 400. And yeah,
Right.
that's 60%, but that
Right.
means you convince 100 people, you
Right.
know.
Right.
I mean, their entire I mean, I remember like when Trump was throwing fucking paper towels to Puerto Ricans. I'm sitting there going, you're all citizens. I bet you we could spread you out and turn the entire Midwest blue because you have enough people to do it
Right.
if you move to the right places.
Right. Well, and there's so many demographics we can point to
Right.
that help push Trump over the line. One that really stuck out to me was something highlighted in a couple different NPR and Washington Post Instagram posts. It's
Right.
like immigrants who feel like the ladder should be pulled up behind them. It's like I
Right.
got in, I should get the resources now. And there's complexities there that I will never understand. I do know that my grandma was a first generation Vietnamese immigrant. She was I kid you not in the Vietnamese palace. um I don't know exactly what her title was, but I know that my
Right.
great 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 uncle was the last emperor of Vietnam. And that is
Okay.
true. So I don't know what her title was, which I know it doesn't help my case, but I've seen the impact of my grandma's upbringing on my parents, and
Right.
I understand why there would be a desire to, for all that pain, claim the resources that are
Right.
present. I
Right.
understand that on second or
So,
third hand. I get it.
I mean,
That's a tough moral argument. That's a
I,
tough.
and I'm certain that there's some of that. I think the media is actually just desperately trying to look hard for something other than the idea that the meanness is a feature to his voters, not a bug, and that somehow there's 75 million people who, I mean, because that's the part I've been struggling with. That's the part that's had me not wanting to get out of bed is I had this bedrock belief that Americans were kinder than that. This bedrock belief that Americans believed in actual liberty.
Yeah, I think it's tough to make an I mean, I wanna believe in that emotionally, but I think it's tough to make any assertion about an emotional
Certainly,
assertion about
certainly
any.
not anymore,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because here's the thing: in 2016, you could claim to not know. He had completely mixed messaging. He hadn't taken over the party. He'd never served in office. Now he's served in office. Everybody who stood against him has been ejected from the party, and he stopped even pretending that he's not going to be horrible.
And you saw, of course, that Matt Gaetz was
Oh God.
not gonna be nominated to be the
Which isn't even his work. I mean, like, it made me physically ill when I saw it. I literally threw up in my mouth when that news dropped today.
Yeah, right. Right,
And
right.
it's still not as bad as the what's his name from Fox News heading up the largest military in the world
Right. Right.
and the single largest piece of the US budget. Let's just give a Fox. He's not even good enough for daily Fox News. He's the
Right.
Fox News weekend host
Right.
who talks about how the military is too woke.
Right.
And now he's going to be the Secretary of Defense. Are you fucking kidding me?
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I think what did the Matt Walsh tweet last week? It's like, "Oh yeah, we lied. Project 2025 is
Yeah,
the LOL," or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
mean, and that's the thing. And unfortunately, I've known enough of them personally that I am now fearing that like there's just a huge. Are you a sports fan at all?
I love some sports. I love the Nationals. I love
Okay.
Nationals,
Okay, so you know
and I'm
baseball.
getting increasingly invested in the Yankees. So
Oh, oh,
I went to a
boo.
Yankees game and I bought a hoodie,
Oh,
and that's the
oh, boo.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I know. And
so
I'm
so
doomed to not have them win at all either. I don't know why I'm choosing that.
I'm happy for.
Okay.
Season tickets for Alexandra.
Woo! Well, if they're not gonna win, great. I can go to the game, say I went to the game, and be on my phone the whole time.
Perfect.
That
Um,
sounds really relaxing, actually.
so the Cubs Sox rivalry in Chicago, I think actually can be used as a decent allegory for um the bigger this is just literally I'm thinking this out loud. So let me um the Cubs fans for the most part just don't care about the Sox. They don't dislike the Sox. They don't particularly dislike Sox fans. They'll root for them when they're doing well. They'll go to a Sox game. They'd love to see a Cubs Sox World Series because that'd mean all the games were in Chicago. White Sox fans tend to define themselves more by hating the Cubs.
Sure, I'll take your word for it.
I once took a math class from a White Sox fan, and he knew I was a Cubs fan. I wore my Cubs cap half the time. I walked in one day wearing a Twins cap. The Twins had, in the 10 days previous to that, won 6 games against the White Sox and gone from 3 games back in the American League Central, 3 games behind the White Sox, to 3 games in front of the White Sox. He said, "Oh, you finally saw the light. You got rid of that damn Cubs cap." And I'm like, "Do you know what team this is?" "No, what team?" "The Twins." It's like, "Oh, the Twins are okay." I'm like, "You were in first place a week ago and they've single-handedly knocked you into third.
Right.
He's like,
Right.
oh, well, I haven't really been paying attention. I'm like, oh my God. Every single time I walk into this room wearing a Cubs cap. And
Right.
this was like at a time where interleague play was just one series a year. So they played 3 games a year against the Cubs.
Right.
They
Right.
played 19 games a year against the Twins. And at that point in the year, the Twins had won 10 of 12.
Right. Oh, exactly.
So I think that's part of the problem is that somehow a significant portion of the Republican Party doesn't give a damn about what government does, doesn't give a damn, and or just doesn't believe the government does anything, right? Or doesn't do anything good. So if you get rid of it, that'll be bad because they
Right.
haven't thought about how roads are built
Right.
or or who pays for the police or the fire
Right.
department. Never mind teachers or librarians or whatever.
Right. Well, and if they're not helping me directly, then they must not be helping anybody. Or if they're not, I'm not directly seeing how they're helping me.
Seeing them help
They
me.
could be helping me, but if
Right,
I'm not seeing it, it's not happening, you
right.
know?
But they have decided that all Democrats are the devil. Sometimes
Eh,
literally.
right. Right. Mhm.
And therefore, I mean, all Republicans have to do is run on owning the libs. All they have to do to fundraise is break the government. I mean, that was the real evilness of the Reagan government is the problem. Don't ask don't ask the government to solve your problems. The government is
Right.
the problems. The insidiousness of that is you created an incentive structure for the Republican Party to make the government bad.
Right. Right. Well, it's the classic thing, right? It's like government is inefficient, but we're not going to fund it properly to make it more efficient. Maybe it already is efficient, but we're not going to do anything to fix the problems we're observing. And then we're going to continue pointing to it and saying, there's something
See,
wrong.
it's bad.
It seems like very much like the Cinderella thing. It's like, "Oh, you can
Yeah,
go to the ball if you pick up all the lentils off the fireplace." It's,
right.
"Oh, but we're going to dump the lentils in the first place." Because so yeah.
So you're 24.
Mhm.
So you've gotten 4 years with Joe Biden, and how political were you for your late high school, early college years? Were you already starting to get into it?
I was. So I had a friend who introduced me to Stephen Colbert when I was,
Okay,
late middle school, early high school because he liked The Lord of the Rings, and that was my big thing at the time.
okay,
And then I really liked how the late night hosts were entertaining me while teaching me simultaneously.
okay.
And that idea that I could enjoy myself while not feeling guilty about it was really formative in like all of my interests.
Right.
Um, so that's why I've done a lot of the political cartoon work. That's why I'm interested in doing late night. Um, I have this deep-seated fear of wasting time and wasting other people's time, and I'd ideally like for people's entertainment to be more fruitful if we're going to be spending this much time in
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So anyway,
Um,
but
so,
yeah, I was getting into my late night phase, which is ongoing in late
see,
high
I,
school.
I so wish that you were like just for you. I wish that you were 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 my age or that there was a better access to stuff because you know what Colbert did before late night, don't you?
I do. Yes, I do. Improv comedy.
No, 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 no. Specifically,
Double majored in political science and theater at
right, right.
Northwestern.
But
Yeah,
but
gotcha.
but but do you know about the Colbert Report?
Oh, of course. Oh,
Okay.
yes. The
Yeah,
holy
see,
sacred
see,
text.
see,
Yes.
I grew up watching Jon Stewart on the Daily Show, followed up by the Colbert Report,
Right.
where Colbert was trying to be the funny right wing news. It actually had a surprising number of right wing people fall for it, which is like, I mean, it's kind of like the Onion sometimes. I mean, yeah, I always love it when you have like Republican senators tweeting articles from the Onion, and it's like, they're making fun of you.
I can't believe it. Like, I don't know. I maybe like maybe similar to your injured faith. I really thought that there were enough jokes throughout any given episode of the Colbert Report to disprove that. If
Oh
anybody
yeah, no, I mean those of us who had tuned in for Jon Stewart, we knew what was going on.
Right. Like I guess reality has a well-known liberal bias. I that is at the same level of self-delusion and confidence and
Right,
kind of uh, uh, absolutist assertion that a
right.
lot of Fox News hosts are making now. So I can kind of understand how
Yeah,
tonally it's the same.
yeah.
But I guess I hoped that people in 2006 weren't as deluded at that point.
I mean, I remember 2004, he did a pretended to run for president for a while and actually had
Right.
people show up.
Right. Right, exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Um, but yeah, no, those I mean, with I really like the current daily. I would love Trevor Noah. I miss Trevor Noah. I get why he left. I think he just couldn't do it anymore. Um, but the early Jon Stewart. Though the other thing is, Trump just changed the ball game. That was actually where I was going to go. Is you we're starting to get into this during the Trump years. You've had the Biden years. Now you're looking down the barrel of Trump again. From a cartoonist perspective,
Hmm.
um, talking about the difference in what it feels like or what it felt like when you were starting versus how it felt like for 4 years, and what you're looking forward to, dreading, whatever, going forward. Because
Yeah, and that's something I'm continuing to evolve my take on. I think a lot of where I'm at ties into that same declining faith that you and I have been focusing on. At least from my 16, 17-year-old vantage point in 2016 when I loved all the SNL stuff. I memorized the Republican primary debate one with Ted Cruz and Chris Christie. I would recite lines in the car to family, not realizing they were sex references. I didn't know, I guess so.
wow, if you
That did
didn't
happen.
realize that at 16,
I
you
did
grew
it.
up sheltered.
I am blushing. If you're just listening to this, I am all red. My
They
forehead
can
is
only
red.
listen to
I
it. We
guess.
we 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 don't publish video.
Okay, there you go. When I tap my forehead, there's a little white thing
I
that
can see it.
That's true. I didn't fully understand so much of what was going on. Part of that was not understanding perhaps how bad things were going to get. Maybe others were found themselves in that too. Um, I think at least it felt at the time we could all laugh about it a little bit because it seemed so obvious that Trump was in the wrong and people who voted for him were, maybe it was understandable, but how could you possibly do that? There seemed to be this assumed central hive mind consciousness about how ridiculous he was. And then in 2020, at least from my vantage point, it seemed like those ideas were confirmed that, yeah, he
Right,
is terrible. And the
right,
popular vote reflects how most people think that. And then now, we've essentially been told we were kind of gaslit or fooled 4 years ago, and it
right.
actually is
I
just
mean,
as
I
bad, if
think
not
that's the
worse.
hardest part for me is that he's
Yeah,
winning the popular vote. Thankfully,
right.
as it turns out, by a much slimmer margin than it looked like initially.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
The not all of the votes have been counted, but when I was reading, I think it was Nate Silver this morning, who was pointing out that it will actually be a slimmer margin than Hillary had in
Oh my goodness.
2016.
Well, there's a little bit of a joy in that, I guess. A little bit of a relief in that. I
It will be the slimmest electoral vote margin for a winning candidate since I want to say Nixon in 70 or Nixon in 68.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So
Well, that's slightly good.
not
Would
if
be
Matt
worse.
Gates is the attorney general.
Right, right. It's hard for me to ever say that something could be worse and have that feel like an actual practical heartwarming argument, but it could be worse. But yeah, anyway, so what I've kind of been grappling with is someone who desperately wants into late night, and I applied madly after my master's degree was over, thinking that starting my own show and the master's degree would be enough to persuade hiring employers, but it wasn't. Um
Well, see, you're in
uh
the wrong town. You went to New York. Second City is in Chicago.
oh well, all the late night shows are here. But
Yeah, but
yeah.
they come here to scout. Almost all of them
Oh,
started
really?
here.
Oh, no. All right, well, I'm gonna have to move a third time in a month. Oh, no.
I mean, Seth
That's funny.
Meyers was here, Tina
Right,
Fey was here, Amy
right.
Poehler was
That's
here.
true.
I mean, the number,
Right,
like 80% of everybody who's ever been on Saturday Night Live went through
right,
Second
right, right.
City.
I just saw that movie, by the way. It was really good.
Which one?
Um, a Saturday night about the first
Oh,
ever SNL night. They just made a whole dramedy about it. It
I
was really,
did not know that. I'll have
yeah,
to
it was
make
good.
certain my wife knows that because
Yeah.
she's Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons are the two things that she knows everything about.
There you go,
Like
right?
everything. That and all things art history.
Right, right. But yeah, so but yeah, I felt at least throughout the last 8 years, and I'm starting to have this belief change more and more. I was starting to get inklings of this personally in the last maybe year or so, but I'm really starting to feel that um w- it's not first of all, a lot of these jokes just aren't funny anymore, not because the writing isn't good. Often, I don't think it's that good often, but
It
um
goes back and
a, lo-
forth.
a lot of the late night industrial complex's typical commentary on this, it's not as funny anymore, partially because it doesn't feel like it is an air these this chaos we're going through is something that can be fixed in any way from levity. So I feel almost guilty for laughing about it because, as said, I fear wasting time.
Yeah.
So before,
I
when I thought that jokes could
right.
persuade people, I thought they were funny, and laughter often unites people, and I thought maybe they were useful, and for that reason. But I'm worried now that those same talking points are maybe hurting more than they're helping, and are ultimately not really addressing the core issue, whatever's dividing Americans at its core. And I'm sure it's more than one thing, obviously, but I'm a little bit concerned about it for that reason.
No, I get it. And people have been making that argument since the Daily Show debuted. Which is where I'll say absolutely I don't think there's actually any real evidence of it. I think if anything, um, it's what allows those of us who are really hurting right now not to give up.
Right.
And
Right.
that's really what it's about. It's less about, I mean, it's about educating people like it educated you. Okay. But it's not, it's if you're over 25, it's unlikely to be educating you. I
Right.
mean, it might be giving you new information to go along with the opinions you already have or roads to go down. And that's one of the reasons that I appreciate so much that both Stewart and Colbert have been ridiculous about sourcing their stuff. They make certain what they're telling you is true when it's factual and why, and they don't hide their jokes, and they certainly don't try to make jokes to imply that something's bigger or smaller than it is. You know what I mean? I mean, as a political cartoonist, you've got to I'm certain appreciate this because I've seen enough of your cartoons to see the way you find the humor in something, but your humor is not, I mean, I'm literally just pulling up a random one. If I have to create stories to send a message, I will, JD Vance. And you've got your fiction writers, and AI trying to take our job was bad enough. Um, so so you found that kernel of humor, but it's not, it's making the pill easier to go down. It's not
Thank you. I'm glad
detracting
you
from
think
it.
that.
No, I don't just think it. Again, I strongly believe it, and I'm pretty certain that if you wanted me to, I could go dig up the academic research that would back it up.
Thank you. Well,
Um,
honestly, the best piece of advice I ever got on cartooning was political cartooning was you got to start with a thesis. You got to
yeah,
start with a clear message. Because if you don't have a clear message, your cartoon is either not going to be funny or it's not going to make sense or both. And what I so I founded that late night show in college, and of course, as somebody entering into the comedy situation or starting to do comedy for the first time, I wasn't very good, and I had a lot of people correctly telling me that it wasn't good. And so I have this, I'll admit, like, deep fear of being not funny. so so
comedy is
my,
hard.
my thought is that, look, I think that if I can start with a main idea, then I can at least have a concrete starting point, or, as I called it in my undergraduate thesis, a clear, what are those things called that go into pools? Diving board. You can have a
Diving
clear
board.
diving board from which to jump into the pool from. You got to have
Right,
that platform first. And I figured if I have that first, at a minimum, I'm making a clear, interesting argument. And hopefully, after that, once I had that foundation, I can make a good joke. Hopefully.
right,
um,
right.
so I've felt, at least in my, because I didn't do a cartoon for 2 years. I stopped after I was let go by the Lincoln Project. And then I had another gig with John Kasich and John Kerry's environmental platform stop. And I sent off so many emails to so many publications asking them if I could do cartoons, and nothing happened, that I decided, look, this is certainly not a financially viable industry. I am going to cut my losses and try something else. And then out of the blue, a friend of mine, Kevin Necessary, who was exhibiting at
Yep.
CXC, emailed me and said, how'd you like to, are you free in late September? And I said, yes. And he said, how would you like to be, the inaugural Locher, blah, blah, blah. And that was awesome. And they asked how, they gave me an award despite me not doing a cartoon in 2 years. And then they said, how can we adjust this award and its prizes in a way that is maximally helpful to you, which is wonderful, like I said.
Right.
And I said, job, please, because what I've realized,
Yeah.
realized over time is that awards and resume bullets are means to an end.
Yeah.
They get you jobs, at least in my phase of life. They're
One can hope anyway.
right, and the money before you have the job, and resume bullets are means of being impressive to employers when you wave those things in their faces. That is what they're for. So I said, I'd like to cut out the middleman. Job, please. And they said, okay, where? And I said, oh, how about Counterpoint? Which is this publication made by Nick Anderson, a political cartoonist for only political cartoons. Um, and so I've been doing cartoons for them for several months now, and I'm so glad that someone came along and kind of reached down and saved me and started making
Hey,
me do cartoons again, because I
there's
needed someone to force me to do it.
there's nothing better than having people who believe in you.
Yes. Also,
Um,
your kitty who just came on screen is adorable. I
this
love him.
is Eddie. Eddie takes part in almost every podcast.
Hello, Eddie.
He's a brat, but I love him.
Oh,
He
precious.
he may try to steal the microphone.
Oh, cute.
I switched from a stand-up microphone to the headset microphone entirely because he would knock the stand-up microphone down, but only when I was using it.
Awesome. Fantastic. That's He is doing his job as a cat. That's great.
Yes, yes, and he's the granddaughter whisperer. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I love how he
he's
just flopped into your arms.
he's my granddaughter's best friend. So,
Oh, cute. He
so
seems like
you
he just
know,
hopped into your arms. I love it.
yeah. Sometimes he'll hop on my shoulders. Sometimes he'll try to bite things. Sometimes he's a big escaper. Yeah, no, I'm telling her all about you in case she ever visits. She'll know not to let you outside.
There you
You
go.
won't convince her.
There you go.
Yeah, only Finn. She
Oh,
convinced he managed We had friends over for dinner one night, and their 5-year-old came up. I let Eddie out. And it's like, no, the cat doesn't get let out. But he wanted to go out, and we're like, we know that he wanted to go out.
Oh no, I'm glad he's okay. He's a good
Yeah,
boy.
no, like every time anybody rings anytime anybody comes to the door and I have to open it to talk to them, there's a good chance he'll slip. Yeah,
Right,
he's our little escape artist.
right.
Yeah, I'm
I
telling
love
all of your secrets. Deal with it.
spilling
Deal
his
with
dirty
it.
laundry. Oh, I get
Yeah.
little paws from here. That's absolutely
Yeah.
precious.
No, he's fantastic. Most of the time. Some of the time. When
Super
he's not being a
precious.
brat.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, see, there he is for the microphone.
Oh my gosh, it looks like a little mouse or a bug.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Oh my gosh,
we
it's
lost his older brother last week, so
oh no.
he's
Oh, I'm
he's
so
still.
sorry. And did
Yeah,
she
no, that
with this?
that that was not the icing on last week that I wanted.
No, I'm so sorry. I lost my childhood dog like about a week
Ugh,
ago. I'm there with you. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually spent election night sitting with the cat that I was pretty certain would he'd been to the vet that day because he was diabetic, so he had an appointment anyway, but somewhere he developed an abscess on his hindquarters
Oh
and
no.
it popped
Oh
sometime during the night.
no.
So when my wife went to get him to take him to the vet on Tuesday morning, he was bleeding
Oh my
and
gosh.
it was pretty bad.
Oh my
And he
goodness.
was given antibiotics and a cone was put on his head and
Oh.
like it was you need to bring him back Thursday and we'll figure out if it's healing or whether we need to do surgery. Of course, the whether we need to do surgery was also like he's 13 and he's diabetic.
Right.
So I
Right.
spent election night sitting on the floor of our bathroom with him, watching results come in and being very, very aware that there was a good chance that I was going to take him to vet on Thursday and not bring him home.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so
That
sorry.
was my election night. It sucked.
Oh,
It
yeah. Oh,
sucked. The
geez.
least that the world could have done for me is had election night go better.
Right, right,
It
exactly.
still would have sucked.
Right, right. Hopefully you at least didn't check your phone until the following morning or
No, I
following
was
week.
following.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I started following less because I knew where all the pundits had it dead even. But there was also real things to look at in Florida, North Carolina, to a lesser extent Texas, and then that last Iowa poll. So it's
Right.
like those four states I'm going to pay attention to. If
I
Florida
fell
was
asleep at 9:30, so yeah.
that's me a lot of nights.
Yeah, yeah, there you
When
go.
when Florida started coming in, and not only was it going to Trump, but almost across the board, it was shifting red. My heart sunk. And I'm like, and then when North Carolina was good enough not to elect their black Nazi, but still went to the white Nazi, I
Right.
went, we have problems.
Right, that's confusing. I don't know what to tell you on that.
Well,
But
because as it turns out, it's okay to be a Nazi. It's just not okay to be black.
right, right. Right, and then, he had those additional allegations
And anybody who knows me knows that I am not at all. Don't take that out of context.
Oh gosh. I think I saw your Instagram and the podcast Instagram. I think that you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
I think you've done enough to cement your
I,
position.
I think people pretty much know
Yeah,
know. But yeah, it was an interesting night.
truly. But yeah, my goodness. Well, but yeah, I'm glad to share a little bit about kind of where I'm at on
Well,
some of
let me
the
yeah,
stuff.
let
Yeah.
let's let's try to go at least for a little bit, like less gloom and doom. Talk to me first. I mean, you're the first person I've talked to, I think, other than like one of my early guests who was literally in high school and self-publishing a graphic novel that he was selling at like local art shows, like craft shows. And I'm like, oh, I got to talk to this kid.
Right.
Um,
Oh, that's
worked as a lifeguard during the summer to pay to self-publish his graphic
wow. Oh,
novel.
that's so admirable. My goodness.
Um,
Right.
but so like take me take me through the Alexandra Bowman story. Like where'd you grow up?
Yeah.
What's your attachment to art, cartoon? I mean, with political cartoonists, with any cartoonists that aren't doing comics, comics or strips or graphic novels, I always wonder, you like, was it the art that you were drawn to, or are you a comic person too? You know, kind of take me through how'd you get here? That's the way to
Yeah,
go.
totally. Well, starting around age 5, like because my mom always had art supplies in the house as an artist herself, I just got super interested in drawing on my own. And I had a really early interest in drawing characters from things that I loved. I just loved the idea of copying all of those lines, getting those lines
Okay.
to interact in such a way where they emerged as a character or like even a consciousness on the paper, like the idea that if I learned those secret um methods of moving my pencil, I could create life almost was awesome to me from day one. And then until like age until honestly um middle of college, or no, rather, freshman year of college, I was just drawing mostly other people's characters. Like I had my own characters, but I was mostly just copying other people's stuff. Um, and I was starting to get a little bit antsy. Like, first of all, I'm bored. Second of all, like again, I feel like I'm not really adding anything, and people don't get famous most of the time for copying other people's characters. I'm gonna have to do something new. And then I was at the Georgetown newspaper as a freshman, as a writer, and the Varsity Blues thing happened, and two of the students whose parents had bought their way to Georgetown were about to get kicked out. There was one girl who knew, and then there was one guy who didn't know. His parents did it, and I have undying sympathy for that poor kid. Um, he was the cartoonist when I was the writer at the paper. And he left one day, and the Georgetown newspaper staff was like, "We need someone who can draw." And I had been sitting in the back of the office when I was done with my articles, drawing, and they went, "Hey, you, can you do it?" And I started doing it, and I realized how awesome it was that if I put um clothes on my donkeys and elephants, I was suddenly a political cartoonist. And this is kind of a central thesis of the talk I gave at the Cartoon Crossroads Columbus event,
Which I
which is
missed. Sorry.
oh no no no. Well, they said they would publish it online. They haven't told me if that's happened yet.
It will.
It probably
They're
is.
slow with it. They tend to be
Right.
slow.
Right, it probably is online, and or will be soon.
Yeah.
And so I realized that, okay, first of all, you got to be ready for unprecedented opportunities, and then more broadly after that, and other opportunities that I got to do work for the Lincoln Project after that, and after I was building a portfolio of political cartoons, that this medium is dying. And anybody who's
Mm,
interested, that might change now that last
no,
week.
I
Um,
don't think it's dying. I think, and I could go on a ton about this, so we won't get too deep. I think uh, there's never been a medium that's been dying longer than comics. People talked about it dying within a year or two of it really starting.
right.
Um, and I think that has to do with comics as a medium are so ephemeral, so able to adapt to any platform. I don't think it's dying. Comics aren't going anywhere. we're having to figure out again how to make any money from them. But I mean, that's true of
Right.
almost
Well,
all things artistic right now.
I don't think comics as a whole are dying.
Right.
I'm concerned about political cartoons
No,
specifically.
again, I don't think they're, I mean, there will be political cartoons on Instagram that people draw on their lunch breaks working the mind-numbing job that they wish that they didn't have to work.
Sure.
Um,
Well, let's zoom out a little bit.
right,
I think that, at least in my experience, I don't think that cartooning is dying is
right.
the most useful argument for how to talk about what's going on here.
Yeah.
I think respect for political cartooning is dying, and that's having impacts on the field. For
I think
example,
respect for anybody who works for money is dying.
Oh my gosh.
Somehow we reached a point where the American version of capitalism is the only people who deserve to make money are the people who put up the capital.
Yeah, you can make that argument too. But yeah, I think that we are craving two things simultaneously: the ability to understand and make political arguments faster, and also more depth in our
Yeah.
political arguments. And political cartoons, I think, don't often provide that depth that people want so badly. And they are often used by people who want that simplification, as a means of expressing an idea. Like, that 1984 meme that people use, like where the guy's flipping up the calendar and it says 1984. That was a conservative cartoonist who's on Counterpoint, and I'm in a Slack
All
channel
right.
with him. And that cartoon's often kind of a punchline to a lot of leftist jokes, or even mainstream jokes. And that cartoon and a lot of Ben Garrison's work, I think, are often what stick out in people's heads when they think of political cartooning as a medium. And they think of the overt simplifications of those cartoons and others. And they think of the ideas of a cartoon at all being used to make a serious point. And those just don't sit
Whereas,
right.
whereas
Yeah.
I think the Nib, and I think Jen Sorensen, and I think Ben Passmore, and I think Tom Tomorrow, and
Yeah.
um, so I don't know that I think that's completely true.
Sure.
I think
Well,
that
and
there's
that's
a
the
huge
thing.
number of people that, as you say, I mean, have you ever read Neil Postman's Amusing Ourselves to Death?
I have. Oh, and really quickly, like, I love
Yeah,
Tom Tomorrow's work, and I think
yeah,
I think most is probably fair, of the left-leaning political cartoonists who are working now and in prominent positions are using a lot of that nuance that we need.
right.
But those cartoons aren't the ones that make it to the surface, where people who aren't already looking for cartoons are don't often see them. So
Right.
the Ben Garrison over-labeled joke cartoons are what people see. The guy who does cartoons for The Onion makes fun of those specifically. It's like those are often what comprise our understanding of what a political cartoon is.
That's
That
fair.
doesn't mean there aren't people doing fantastic work now. Just their work is so smart and so well researched that it
You
doesn't
mean
beat
you
the
mean like the
algorithm. Yeah.
historical political cartoons?
Right, 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 right,
I mean,
right.
because
Right,
that was my, I mean, political, the beauty of good political cartoons. The reason I'm so proud of the history department at the high school I work with, for the fact that they use so many of them in teaching,
right,
um,
right.
is that you can take a political cartoon and put so many ideas into it.
Right. It's true.
I mean, you can get that extra layers and layers of information that's still in a I mean, that's the beauty of comics in general.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I right before we were on, I'm in a weekly movie group with my family where we all watch a movie together and then we talk about it for an hour.
Right.
Um, or we watch the movie individually because we live all over the country, and then we talk about it for an hour.
Right.
Um, uh,
Right.
and we watched the Gregory Peck Moby Dick this week, and one of the things that I brought up is that as brilliant of a movie as it is, it misses the mark on one of my favorite parts of the book, which is that feeling of hurry up and wait, that feeling of desolation and loneliness that's in between the points of action. And yes, there are things that hint at the monotony, but just because of the medium, you can't like really feel the monotony. Whereas Moby Dick's been adapted to comics a number of times, and in most of them, they managed to capture that. In some, they captured as well. Or I mean, my favorite version of Moby Dick, including the original novel, is actually Christophe Chabouti's adaptation, because the way he managed, and I actually pulled up a couple of pages. I'll even just share them with you here so that at least you'll know what I'm talking about. Where's my share screen? I have so many things up that I have to find the buttons. But the way he wordlessly just gives you that feeling of time passing
It's
and
beautiful.
things happening.
Right.
There's so many things you can do with a comic that you just can't. I mean, and you know, political cartooning is only one part of it, but that's one of the reasons this podcast exists, is that I feel like the medium of comics is criminally underrated. Um,
Yeah, agreed. And it can do so much. Like that, I think that simplification is something that we desperately need to reach people at all.
right.
We just need to make sure we're simplifying the right things and we're doing it responsibly. And once we do that, then we can use this medium for such good.
Yeah.
But I worry that a lot of cartoons are either, I mean, this is where I gotta say, not just because I gotta press the button, but also because of my I do not want to waltz in here as a brand new cartoonist and tell people they're doing it wrong. I don't want to do that. But I'm worried that a lot of cartoons going out now are making the same arguments repeatedly, or
Sometimes,
or preaching to the choir, or not making arguments in a way that is persuasive enough to new audiences. And often they're not aiming for the new audiences, but
right.
what is the point of this medium? Simplification and to get people's attention on new issues. That's the point. And if we're not using that tool to do the work we desperately need to do to bring over moderates and even Republicans to be consistent voters against Trump, then I think we're not being responsible. We just
Well, and while I
aren't.
100% agree with you, um,
Yeah.
this is where, you know, you ask the $1 million question. How?
I don't want to come out here and claim I'm doing it right, but I think starting with a complex, unique, arguable thesis is key.
Yeah.
Trump is orange. Trump is mean. Trump is a fascist, refuses to elaborate further is not enough. We need to be
We're
look.
clearly reading a lot of very different political cartooning. Maybe I just already have my political cartoons carefully curated, but those aren't the ones that I see.
Okay, right. Um, Biden is old. It's like, okay,
Well, and
right, yeah.
this goes back to the discussion that we had a little bit off air.
Mhm.
Um, I think because comics is a medium that lends itself to thought and somewhat requires thought. I mean,
Mhm.
comics is the only medium that takes both sides of your brain. You have to merge the words and the pictures. You have to think about it. Um, it makes it a lot harder to convincingly um subvert reality, if that makes sense. And
Mm,
I don't mean that you can't do fiction. You can do great fiction, but like, it's fiction. You know,
right, right,
um,
right.
if you're trying to, I don't think you could spend much time. I mean, and I have only just started being exposed to. I mean, I had thought that political cartoons were one of the places where the whole concept of a left-wing media came from. And God, it's not a left-wing media, but it is a the mainstream and or legacy media, whatever we want to call it, is concerned in not misstating facts.
Right. Well, I'm concerned that some kinds of simplification can be considered or ultimately act as misstatements.
Right.
Like to say, for example, let me think of an example. Can I do it? No, 'cause- and full disclosure, I have been meeting with clients since 4 p.m. So
Yeah, that's fair.
I have been talking since 4 p.m. today. It is
I'm sorry.
10:24. No,
Hopefully
no,
this
that
is
was
more interesting than some of those.
it was, believe me, it was. And that's not a that I chose this. So
Right, right, right.
I told you this time worked and I it is, but I
Yeah.
apologize. Yeah. A good way, what's a simplification that I think would be ultimately doing this let's see.
Because again, I mean,
Uh
while you're thinking, I've been seeing plenty of like huge simplifications in the right wing cartoons that I've seen because of stuff that you've pointed out to me. So that it hadn't been on my radar before then.
right,
But
right, right.
like they're obvious simplifications.
Right. Well, I mean, I was actually the reason I was struggling just now is that I was trying to think of a simplification in left-wing cartoons. Let's start
Right.
with the easy stuff. Let's start with the right-wing over generalizations. Um, there's been a lot of cartoons going out from conservative cartoonists I've been following who have focused on saying Kamala Harris is incompetent. You can say that somebody did something that suggested they weren't qualified. I don't, I'm just even backing up from Kamala Harris. Just you can say of somebody that they did something incompetently, or even they did something that suggests that they might not be qualified for the job. That is different from saying someone is incompetent. It's kind of like when someone name calls and said, "You're an idiot." What they might
Right.
mean is you did something stupid. That is
But I'll
different
take it a
from, yeah, that's different from
beyond
their
that because
initiatives.
I that's one of the biggest parts of the campaign that really frustrated me is like
Right,
elected DA in San Francisco twice, once in the state of California, elected to Senate, served well in all of those jobs. Nobody, she only got more people to vote for her. So she's been elected way more times
right,
than the guy she was running against.
right. Right,
So to say that she's incompetent without being able to cite an example of her incompetence gives
right,
away the game. And
right,
therefore to write a cartoon where you say that she's incompetent, but I mean, like, if you wanted to make a cartoon calling Donald Trump incompetent, you could highlight his bankruptcies, you could highlight bleach, you could highlight, so it wouldn't just be, oh, he's incompetent.
right,
It would be him doing something incompetent.
right. Right, exactly, right. Right, you'd actually have evidence to pull from to
Right.
support your claim, exactly.
And you would use it. I mean, maybe there are left wing cartoons that don't use it, but I haven't come. I mean, even the ones that are mostly Trump dumb old are also directly quoting him to show that he's dumb and old.
Right, right, right. And, so those aren't saying anything incorrectly, and but they think they're oversimplifying the issue,
Maybe
but it also depends on
it
I think
depends on what quote they use.
whether or not a cartoon is simplifying the issue, I think also comes down to what audience it's intended for.
Right.
Like, Trump is old, thus he should not be elected, might be enough to grab the minds and attention of some people, but not other people.
Right.
And some simplifications are going to be effective and some aren't. So I think we should just be sure that as we're simplifying things in political cartoons, we're making new and different simplifications,
Yeah.
to try to loop in as many allies as possible.
I also think that trying to simplify is probably clarify. You seek clarity more than simplicity.
Right, right.
People shouldn't have to work hard to figure out what you're saying,
Agreed.
but
That's
that
so
doesn't
well
mean it
said.
has to be a simple message.
Right, exactly, right, and
You
that's what
know,
I'm trying to hit on with that thesis thing. Like, if
right,
I can come up with an argument I believe in that feels unique and worth dying on to me,
right.
then I can probably find a
Well, I
way
mean,
to
that's
express
not
that,
new. I mean,
yeah.
when we're using political cartoons to teach, that's literally the first question we ask the student. What's the thesis of this cartoon?
Right, 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 exactly.
If you can't
Um,
identify it pretty quickly, then they didn't do a very good job.
right, right. So, yeah, that's
And
really
if you identify it and then you can't go any further, they also, I mean, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and there's truth to that, but only if you can figure out what those 1,000 words are.
Right. Exactly. Right. Right. And I worry that I don't really want to I don't want to run the risk of telling colleagues who've been in this for decades more than me and have won awards what to do. But I'm worried about new young cartoonists, of which there are almost none. So I'll say new young humorists or political humorists, where I think they're not thinking about this stuff.
Yeah.
And like I'll just say, like I went to a Seth Meyers taping several years ago, and I asked him like, are how to what degree are in the Q&A in front of everybody. I was like, to what degree are you thinking about the impact of your work, or what degree are you doing a lot of research on your argument towards the end of thinking about impact? And he said, we're really not thinking about that, we're thinking about what's funny. So of course I can't tell the shows not to be funny 100%, but I'm not sure the humor is doing as much for our country in this time of need right now as
Maybe.
um as well-researched arguments would be doing. They're already doing arguments.
But
And
I
many
guess
many argument shows already aren't funny. So
I
go the
guess
whole
my
hog and write a
I
manifesto. I
right. I
guess.
guess my counterpoint to you is when it comes to Seth Meyers or Jon Stewart or whatnot, yes, they're only thinking about funny because that's what they're paid for and that's what their audience came from. But what you also see that's different about them from even a Jay Leno or at times Johnny Carson, um, certainly some other people who are currently doing stuff that I won't even name because I'm so frustrated with them because they used to do good work and don't anymore. Um, is they won't sacrifice their morals.
Mhm.
Seth Meyers knows who he is, and he's not going to stop being Seth Meyers to try to be funny or to get a different audience to laugh. If you won't laugh at what he thinks is funny,
Mhm.
if he has to be mean,
Mhm.
if he has to ignore reality, then he's not going to do it.
Right.
Um,
SNL did a great cold open this last weekend where they expressed their fears on some of those questions.
yeah, no, it was fantastic. All of them. We were behind you all,
Right, right.
except
Yeah.
for Che. That's
Right, right, right.
CHE.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. Exactly. Oh my God.
Though it still doesn't beat the 2016 cold open. Killed it. Kate
Oh, of
McKinnon at the
course.
piano.
Right. A lot of people retroactively have thought that was cringe, but I think that's because
No,
they weren't watching it at the
they weren't
time.
there.
we all I won't generalize. That was therapeutic and needed and
Uh-huh.
wonderful for many, many people. And that's what I'm
I,
talking about in terms of don't criticize
I,
humor too much. Yeah.
I think that, and I'm not saying there aren't things out there that are cringe, but I think for the most part, people who feel the need to talk about things being cringe, um, don't get it.
Yeah, right. They're missing the plot.
One of the arguments that I've even wound up having a couple of times, thankfully, only a couple of times in my time doing a comics podcast. In general, it's something that I think has endeared me to the comics community. We don't like to spend time talking about art that we don't like. We don't
Interesting.
like if we don't like a comic, we're just not going to talk about it. I don't need to say something's bad. Why?
Right. Well, like I'm a theater critic and I've taken a short break in my move to New York, but I'm in talks to continue doing work here. Like my job is to criticize, this work.
Right,
But my goal, and at least in my work so far, and maybe this is not what a critic should be doing, but my goal has been as a fellow artist to say, okay, artists, here's the results of your labor and
right,
the results of the combinations of creative and artistic elements and production pieces you've chosen.
right,
I'm not sure you intended for this, or this doesn't seem close to your desired outcome. Here's something you could fix.
right.
That's
Well, and
what I'm
that's
trying to do.
yeah, that's different. That's I mean,
Yeah,
because it's not that I'll never say anything bad about a comic. It's not that I'll never say anything could be better. And there have even been times where we book clubbed something that we wound up thinking was worth talking about, even though we didn't like it as much as we'd hoped to.
right.
Um, but like there are hundreds of comics come out every week. I don't have time to talk about every one of them. So why would I talk about the ones that I don't like rather than talking about the ones that I do?
Right, exactly.
Now, it's
Right.
a different thing if you're paid to critique a specific thing. If you get sent out to cover this play, that's a journalism assignment. And you got to do the best to be fair and whatnot. But
Right.
I'm my own boss.
Right. Awesome.
I mean, I was talking about this recently, and I won't name any names because there might be people who love it. One of my favorite, I don't know how much you know the non-political cartooning community, but Brian Michael Bendis, who created Miles Morales and
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
major name in superhero comics over the last, well, your entire life.
Right, 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 right.
Seriously, my daughter's a year older than you. My son's only a couple of years younger than you. So I'm
Oh my
like,
gosh. Oh yeah, that's wacky. Yeah, yeah, totally.
so I'm trying not to like go, oh, student.
Right. No, 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 no.
I
I
teach high
it's
school,
weird.
remember?
Right, 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 right. I get
Um,
right.
but the one question he will never answer is like, what's his least favorite comic that he's written? Or what comics of his does he not like or whatnot? Because he's like, yeah, even if I didn't like it, even if I don't feel proud of it, there's some kid out there that it's their favorite book.
Right. Well, yeah,
And if they hear me shitting on it,
right. Oh, so hi Kitty. Kitty's in the camera.
yes, he is.
Hi
He
Kitty.
actually knocked the camera down during my movie club with families. So for a second there, I was
Oh.
concerned that he was gonna be a brat again.
Right. Well, I think if you're critiquing something for the good of the medium or the good of the artist, there's real value in that.
Right,
But many, many people who think that they're doing that are doing a bad job of
right,
doing their criticism for that purpose.
right.
And yeah, yeah. If
And
you
I think
think
there's a
that you
huge
can't do
difference
that,
between critiquing and criticizing. And
totally.
I also think that critiquing is done better by people who like it on some level.
Yeah.
I used to
That's
get in
true.
so much trouble in every creative writing class I was ever in because I could be brutal on stories. I wound up having to either give a speech or write a letter to every creative writing class I've ever been a part of to say, hey, the more I tear it apart, the more I liked it. If I don't like it, I'm going to say good story and nothing else.
Right.
If
And
I'm tearing it apart, it's because I see kernels of brilliance that I want to help you make even better.
right, right. Yeah. Well, at the publication where I've been doing the theater criticism for the last 3 years, there's a format, a formula, a template that I have had to use, and my editor has been very kind in letting me push the bill on what counts as an article that follows that template.
Right,
But the template is like 80% positive, one paragraph of criticism at the end, and it's extremely annoying to have to adjust my real opinions to that formula. Eventually, I simply stopped doing it, and then my editor just let me continue. So that's nice of him. Um, but having to start by my work as doing that theater criticism, doing that formula has actually really helped me kind of start with or remind myself of my goal in being a critic in the first place, which is why are we here? Why are we
right,
doing the art at all? Why am I
right,
talking about the art at all? It's to help this artist improve and show other artists how they can improve or
right,
compliment an artist on something done well so that again they can continue making artwork and
right,
spreading joy and fulfillment. That
right.
is the point. And forcing yourself to be a little bit more positive than you might mean to be if you're somebody who tends to gravitate toward criticism might be a good foundation.
Oh, absolutely. Um, I have been very, very happily going through all of your stickers on your Redbubble show
Oh my
store.
goodness, I haven't updated that in years. So,
Well, I just
thank you.
noticed something that like caught my attention. Did you really start your Redbubble show Redbubble store when you were 15?
I did. I did, I did. I put my Doctor Who stuff on there and the How to Train Your Dragon stuff on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I like your Doctor Who Scrooge McDuck.
Thank you. Oh, it's not the one that's on the site, but I drew the 10th Doctor meeting Scrooge McDuck. And I gave David Tennant the original
Oh,
drawing at
very
the
cool.
convention, and he said seeing it was, quote, the pinnacle of all his work. So so I
So
don't know if he meant the drawing was super good and seeing a super good drawing of it was the pinnacle of his work, or if just seeing them together in any image was the pinnacle of his work. I don't know,
see,
but it was
I
very nice.
just suddenly remembered that he is now the voice of the current Scrooge,
He
but you have
is.
a much more Barksian influence on your Scrooge, both there and I'm trying to find. Yep, you did uh one of your cartoons at Georgetown was Scrooge giving money to Notre Dame.
Oh,
Well,
oh my gosh. Where was that one? Did I put that one on my portfolio website? Is that where you?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of my favorites I did at Georgetown
It's
because
fantastic.
thank you. Thank you.
Well, I
Yeah.
Carl Barks is one of my favorite cartoonists, and
Yeah.
I grew up on DuckTales before I realized that Carl Barks was one of my favorite cartoonists, and as it turns out, one of my favorite writers, because pretty much all of the original DuckTales came straight from old Carl Barks.
Oh my gosh. There you go. Right. Right.
Go pick up the Fantagraphics hardcovers and you'll feel like you're watching DuckTales sometimes, only sometimes it's even better.
Right, right. Yeah,
Um,
my first Karl Barks comic I actually picked up in Germany on a
okay,
family trip, where it was like a Christmas treasury of Donald Duck and Scrooge cartoons all in German.
okay,
Which was
nice.
yeah, which was super interesting. And did you know
Gee,
that Peter Jackson, the Lord of the Rings director, actually partially learned to read because of Tintin and reading graphic novels that
I
impart action based on words? Like that was
I
really,
did not, but that does not shock me.
yeah, right, right. It's
I
really
mean,
cool.
it's a common story. for both famous people and not.
Right.
I mean, Spiegelman famously called comics a gateway drug to literacy, which my only issue with that is that comics are also actual literacy.
Right. Right, 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 right.
But
Right. I've had to share some of that with a lot of my reading clients. And yeah, by the way, my full-time job is private educational consultant because Lord knows that political cartoons aren't paying the bills.
right,
I am actually not making a cent from my political cartoons right now beyond the prize money for this award,
right.
which is my de facto salary for
Well,
counterpoint.
no, because you're making at least $7 from your Substack.
I am. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I'll be honest with you because I read something a while ago that said
Well,
you can
actually,
sell it
no, I
by.
don't know how much Substack keeps. How much does Substack keep?
I got an email saying that $7 had been sent to my debit card because of your donation.
Oh, hey, you got it all.
Yeah, that seems very strange and wrong, but I'll take it. Yeah. So it seems wrong. Yeah. So, um, my full-time job is working with clients on reading and writing tutoring, and I have two contracts with college prep firms for largely like college prep or K-12 private school admissions prep work. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not making any money from political cartooning. So I
Which
have like
sucks,
a
but
job with zero money and a job with kind of a highly unusual amount of money per hour. And at the
right.
end of the day, when you meet in the middle, it's like a normal amount of money.
There
So
you go.
so
There you
that's
go.
really cool. And
And
I
like you
yeah.
got your political cartooning job because of the admissions scandal at Georgetown. So now you're helping people get into private prep schools.
Oh my God.
I'm
Oh my
just
Lord. I have never, no one has ever said that.
please don't take that too
No,
personally.
no, 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 no. No, my
Because I don't begrudge any artist money pretty much however they can get it, and
right.
frankly the people who are paying you that money can
Yeah.
afford it.
That is genius. My boyfriend has like the same job. We're both private tutors as a full-time thing, and we talk about the pros and cons of this work all the time. And we both try to stay on the right side of the ethical tracks. And that's something he should have brought up by now. So I'm gonna get on him for why didn't you tell me?
Well,
I'm
this
just
is where
redoing a vicious cycle.
yeah, I never name them on air, but I work at one of the most prestigious public schools in the country.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
We have an inordinate number of students that they're probably closer to your private school kids than most public schools. So
Right.
so I
Sure.
know all about the tutoring and the
For
I
sure.
mean we have championship lacrosse and fencing teams. That's all you
Right.
need to
Right.
know about
Right. Yeah,
you know
I
how do you get white boys into Ivy League schools on sports scholarships?
oh my gosh. And that's the thing. Like it just happens to be this way and the two
Right,
firms that recruited me are both really Asian focused, but
right,
even besides that skewing my sample,
right.
vast majority of my clients are the children of immigrants or like second or third generation immigrants.
Well,
Um
see,
yeah.
then you're doing the Lord's work.
Right. Well, honestly, maybe
As
please
long
tell
as
me.
they're not the ones also trying to get rid of affirmative action, because
Well, I was gonna say, please tell me if I'm dead wrong. I don't want to come across like a Twitter troll or an uninformed conservative on this.
right.
I get the sense that you have much more of an advantage these days if you're Asian than if you're a white guy. And I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I just factually, I think that in terms of admission, you might have more of an advantage that way. Is that true?
Um,
Is that reflected in your work? I don't know.
uh, I mean, I would need to see a lot of data before I believe that.
Yeah, right,
My
right,
my guess is that maybe you have advantage if you're an Asian male rather than a white male whose parents did not go to the school and or donate a large amount of money to the school. But if
right.
your parents went to the school and or donate a large amount of money to the school, there's nothing that beats that.
Right. For sure. I think you're right. We
I mean,
cannot
I mean
we cannot
seriously, our
generalize.
president elect went to the Wharton School.
Right, right. We can't generalize across all of these groups. You're 100% right.
Um,
But
there
honestly,
was a, do you read Mother Jones at all?
I've read a little bit of it. Yeah.
There was a piece a couple months ago, um, from a woman who, in like the, I want to say late 60s or 70s, there was a program to get more indigenous people into, I forget which Ivy League school, that was literally founded on the idea. It got its original grant. It's in the original paperwork
Right.
to help educate the native people of America. In other words, they were supposed to be having them from day one in like before the revolution. Um, and their first admittance were in like the 1970s.
Right, 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 right.
And
And you know,
there was like, oh, I didn't deserve to be there. I mean, just the same as you hear on Fox News right now. Oh, if I see a black man flying my plane, I wonder if he got. So one of the things that came out during the time that she was there and was covered by the newspaper was that, um, the highest test scores by demographic group, the people admitted to her school, were among black women,
right.
followed by black men,
Hmm.
followed by other women of color, other men of color, women in general. And the group that had the lowest test scores as a group among admittance at this Ivy League school, just barely over the line required to get into this Ivy League school, were white men.
Right. Right, right, right. Well, and I think also based on the work that I've done, like I think that a lot of white students, especially white men, are just not filling those resumes in the same way that a lot of terrified
I
immigrant
deserve it.
families are.
I
You know,
deserve it.
yeah, and
I deserve it.
they often aren't getting in for that reason as well. Like
I was
I see a
weightlifting
lot more of that
with
panic. Yeah, in
what,
with the
Chester and Squee.
right,
I like beer.
right, 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 right. Yeah, right, right, right. Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, they're not panicking enough, or rather, they're panicking
I
the wrong
mean,
amount, and
honestly, as an educator, I'm frustrated at how much too many students are panicking.
yeah, we shouldn't be panicking that much. That's why I said
No,
maybe they're panicking the right
I
amount.
honestly wish that people would realize that. No offense to your Georgetown education, I am pretty certain that 80% of the junior colleges in this country give you an education that 5 years out will make you as qualified as most of your Ivy League schools. I'm not saying that they're bad, but I mean one of the problems with 4 year institutions in general is they tend to be research institutions more than teaching institutions.
Hmm.
So to the extent that you're able to learn more there, it's only because they have more resources. It's not because they have better people to teach them to you, by and large. Sometimes, how many classes did you have taught by TAs? And how many of those two TAs wanted to teach?
I'm very lucky. I didn't have any classes taught by TAs. I had a
Oh,
couple sections led by TAs, but they were
okay.
sections accompanying lectures taught by the professors. But I take your point.
And again, if you're really lucky, then God bless you. How many of the think about your experience. Think of your favorite teachers.
Right.
How many of them are in college and how many of them were in high school?
Most of them were in high school, honestly.
Yeah. You know why?
Nostalgia?
No,
Oh.
because they're paid to teach.
Ah, right. Not
They're
just
paid to
for
teach.
right, 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 right.
Your college professor, I mean, one of the ways that I feel like our college education is broken down, and one of the reasons that I'm a huge proponent of junior college, because the college teachers that want to teach are by and large at junior college, because that's where they're paid to teach. Junior colleges don't care about what you publish. Junior colleges don't care about what your resume is if you're qualified. And junior colleges do absolutely judge you on how well your students do and how your students rate you.
Right, and yeah, I mean, and you're an educator now, like, my mom taught high school for and elementary school for a while, and she
Right.
came home hating that because it's like, "It's not in my control, all I can do is my best, and I have so many, losers."
It's not easy. Um,
None of her those losers are listening, but, I doubt it.
well, it's not easy, and it's even harder if you don't have the mentality to, this is a regular conversation with me and many other teachers, because it's easy to take it personally. It's easy to decide that they don't want to learn. It's always easier to go that way. But that's to absolve the responsibility you have for making learning interesting. And are you going to get to every kid every time? Absolutely not. But the second you decide that it's because they don't want to, or because they don't like you, or just like in the real world, how many people do things? I mean, again, evidence from last week aside, how many people really go, I want to go out and hurt somebody today?
Right. Right, right. They don't
If you're thinking somebody else's actions is because they wanted to hurt you, you're probably missing something.
right.
One of the
Mm,
reasons I adore Tim Waltz is because every kid in Minnesota gets to eat at school.
right.
You know how often the problem is they're hungry?
Mhm.
And it's not even just the poor kids. It's the kid that's working so hard that he or she rolled out of bed at the last minute, showered, and just didn't have breakfast because they wanted to get to school on time.
Right. Yeah.
Forgot to eat dinner last night because they got done with school and they spent an hour working on the newspaper, and then they had a volleyball game, and then they had 3 hours of homework and they passed out at their computer. you
Right,
know um we ask a ton of kids and we don't always take care of their needs. My
right,
single biggest frustration post pandemic has been this whole idea, oh, it was terrible, we lost so much, blah blah blah. And first, my problem was it was only terrible for the schools that chose to allow it to be.
right,
Schools that decided to get creative, schools that decided to find ways to learn, whether they were exactly the ways we learned before or not, did some cool stuff.
right,
And second, for everything they lost out on, why aren't we looking at what they gained? What kind of resilience did they gain? What lessons did they learn? How can we then incorporate that into their future learning rather than
right,
just telling them that they're behind?
right.
We blame social media for everything, but nobody bothers to go, oh, how easy. And you're much younger, so maybe not. But like when you were in high school,
Right.
did you know your grade to the percentage point at any given time?
I
Or did
did
you get like,
because they had this horrible online portal where we could check
okay, so it
time.
had started by your high school.
Yeah,
When I was in
unfortunately.
high school, we got our grades twice a semester.
Right.
And you
That's
kind of knew how
great.
you were doing the rest of the time, particularly if the teacher came and said, you really need to work on this or that.
Right.
But now I have kids flipping out because the
Right.
paper they got graded that they wrote yesterday got graded and it's not high enough and it's going to torpedo their grade and blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you don't need that information.
Right, right. Well, and it hurts you. It's that's not learning. That's trying
No.
to best your high score or reach a score. I've seen that constantly in my private tutoring, and I don't mean to at all make my private tutoring for 2 years in any way parallel with your job.
No,
Like,
no. It's real
um,
experience. Just, I mean,
yeah, just
you're
people are
young, so I get
so
where it comes from,
right.
but you're old enough that you need to stop like downplaying yourself.
Okay,
If
I
somebody asks, if there's reason to say, hey, it doesn't mean you have to lie about but you deserve to be confident. You've done a
thank you,
lot.
thank you.
I mean,
I
I
deeply.
I've been going through your portfolio for the last few
Oh,
hours, and
that's
like,
kind.
and like, we haven't even gotten into these freaking costumes that you make, which is just ridiculous.
Thank you. I deeply
Though
fear.
I have to give
Yeah.
you a mild hard time. We won't go too deep into this, but really,
No, no, no. I appreciate it.
Andrew Lloyd Webber, but no
Oh,
Sondheim anywhere.
say that one more time. I
No
missed.
Sondheim anywhere.
I
I'm
in
with
terms of costumes or what particular.
Well, I'm just looking at the costumes, but I've
Right.
seen lots of evidence between costumes and and stickers that you have a real affinity for cats. But I see no Sweeney Todd, I see no Pacific Overtures,
Right,
I see
right.
no Assassins.
Oh, well, I wrote part of my master's thesis on assassins.
Okay,
That
okay,
helped.
you're forgiven
Uh,
then.
right. But it was mostly Evita, but a little bit assassins. And it was
Okay,
about like how can musicals about historical topics be as both accurate and helpful to the discourse as possible. So
Assassins is brilliant.
I have a thing.
Have you gotten to see it?
I haven't seen it, but I've got some.
I've seen a couple of different productions of it,
Nice. I
and
watched the
it's
like the full Neil Patrick Harris one when I
oh
was
yeah, yeah, yeah. And actually, the second one I saw included some of that music, but also stripped down. Like
interesting.
it was literally done in. Actually, I got to see the rehearsal space version, but it was a much more lighted, and I didn't have like all the lighting and stuff, but it was a mostly dress rehearsal type thing. So got most of the um, but they literally had the balladeer playing all the music
Right,
on a
right,
banjo.
right.
So it's just a banjo version
So cool.
for everything. He was accompanying all the other songs too from like the
Right,
side.
right.
And
I mean,
it was staged for like a black box theater.
right. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that shows had such a complicated critical history. Like
Yeah.
I love it when people take a weird spin on a text, even when it's been popular for a certain take, or
Right.
just in an attempt to see if they can again throw in some creative production element or authorial intent that might reframe it in a way that makes it more not just more relevant but make more sense or make a new argument or something like that. I
Right.
love seeing what people can do with that. But
Right.
yeah, Assassins has had a complicated critical history, so I'd be
Yeah.
very interested to see what people might do with it.
It's such a fun musical though.
It is. It's
I
good.
mean, it shouldn't be as fun as it is, but that's like so much great art. That's what you can say about it.
Amen. But yeah, maybe next time if you do repeats, we can get into
Oh,
the
I
stuff.
Tom King's coming on for like the fourth time next week.
Oh, excellent. Well, we got to do
Or,
that.
I mean, we could start a book club. Whatever. You can come on as often as you want, Alexandra.
Thank you. Oh, that's kind of you.
I
That's
mean,
wonderful.
you're young and busy, so I don't expect you to have time to come on a ton, but like,
Well, no, no. I mean, I have made so many s- I've had to redo so many schedulings in the last
right,
month because of all this nonsense. So,
right.
it's been more crazy than it usually is this last month, but I
So
do appreciate it. But
quickly tell me how you got into theater.
yeah, so I deeply love I always loved the idea of being an expressive character on a stage. I loved that idea. I could only do one performing arts elective in high school, and I chose to do orchestra to get into college. So I was always adjacent to the
Hey,
theater
my
world.
best friend went to Boston Conservatory for her master's in music theater, so you can get into college without going into orchestra.
I believe that genuinely. At the time, people who were in theater were consumed by how many rehearsals there were, and they did not have, at least anecdotally when I talk to people, they did not have time for anything else. So, um, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to continue being like the debate captain, where I was doing the
Ah,
talking.
yeah, the
I
debate's really what got you into college. Debate will get you into two.
Georgia sent me a letter after I accepted the admission offer saying it was the debate. You know, I don't know to what degree it was a form email, but yeah, so I got to be the character on the stage in a other way, especially given I did congressional debate, which is the one where you're graded more on theatrics than content.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so when I got to college, I had developed some of those interests in entertainment for a purpose, and I did a lot of talking into a screen or gesticulating for a screen for that. And then I did
For
some.
for for those of you at home listening, she just did wonderful jazz hands.
Yeah. Right. I'm usually doing something like that.
Which I mean that
Yeah.
would have fit really well with the completely sparkly something that you were wearing the last time I saw you.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, they said there was an
When you
after
chickened out
party.
on karaoke.
Right, right. I put my name in and they just didn't get
Oh,
to.
he just never
But
got you.
I put it in late. I put my name in the song
Ah,
request in real late and
you
so I,
deliberately put it in.
right.
It's like we close down in 15 minutes. Time to put my name in.
Exactly. But yeah, I wasn't sure what the after party vibe would be of
Right.
the CXC after party, so I took my Mr. Mistopheles sparkly jumpsuit and just wore that.
There you
No,
go.
no, I didn't want to be underdressed. So I did
And you
that.
weren't,
I was
but
not.
you also weren't the only one dressed up.
Right, right. That was good. I was
But
a
I
little
was there in jeans and a t-shirt.
well. It takes cartoonists are weird. You got to have the
And
sampling.
Nate Powell was probably dressed down compared to me.
Right. Right, 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 right. Oh my gosh. Oh
um,
man. But yeah, so I've always wanted to um kind of reach as many people as possible with the things that I'm interested in. And I also just want to be on a stage talking to people, reaching to as many people as I possibly can, which has led to,
well,
a
on this podcast, you're talking to my mom, my brother, my friends John and Britt, and if we're lucky, a few dozen other people.
There you go. There you go. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so
Um,
and there were a limited number of performing arts and entertainment related opportunities at Georgetown. There were not that at least worked with my schedule.
you
So
mean the school closest to the Capitol is busy with other
right.
things,
Well, and I thought there'd be more people interested in like a political comedy show there for
right?
those reasons, and there weren't. I was very surprised.
Yeah,
So
probably 10 years ago. I mean, the
yeah.
Capitol's become more and more polarized over the last.
Right, right,
I
right.
mean, I know enough people who live out there or have lived there through the years that like there used to be a much greater ability for the capital region to make fun of itself.
Right.
Um,
Right. Well, I don't know. Maybe people deemed Colbert too cringe or what have you. But yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
right. Yeah. Well, I took the opportunities that were there, and one of them was um place in a summer camp writing arts journalism, and then at the end
Okay,
of that camp, you got a free byline writing something for XYZ list of publications, and mine was
okay,
DC Theater Arts, and then I ended up writing for them for 3 years, and I'm
cool.
still going. It's not over. But
Right,
yeah. Oh
cool,
my,
cool.
I'm so glad my voice has held out this long because I had a
Yeah, I was about to say we actually I just realized crossed the 2 hour mark since we started the call. I don't remember when we started recording. So I should get to my favorite last question. I have no idea what I'll get from you because you um again you have among I mean other than when I talked to Ryan Bussey, who at the time was just the issues director at Giffords, but just ran the unfortunately unsuccessful Democratic gubernatorial campaign for the state of Montana. You're probably the person I've had on that's read the least of the comics that most of our listeners read,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I
which
need
we'll work on.
we will. No,
We'll
please
work
send
on.
me your list, and I hope that people
Well,
come.
that might be what we do. We'll start the Alexandra Reads Comics
Please, yeah, tell me what
graphic novel
you read.
list or
Please,
graphic novel
yeah.
book club. I'll just find cool stuff for you to read with me.
Please. No, please
I mean,
do.
as I look down, have you ever read? Ah, I feel like you'd like this one.
Ooh, yeah. Now that looks super interesting. I'd love to check that out.
Yeah, this is Mariko Tamaki. Laura Dean keeps breaking up with me. It's a fantastic YA book, but I think it has theater kids in it. If it
Oh,
doesn't, we can find what Raina Telgemeier's drama is all about theater kids.
right. Right, right, right. Well, Wikipedia says it has critical acclaim, so I should check that.
Hey, um,
Source of all knowledge, really, but yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely one of the teachers that says Wikipedia is a great first spot,
It is, yeah.
particularly because they have citations.
Hmm.
So if you have questions, go look at the citations. Not a great spot to use as your entire argument, but a great spot for starting to build and flesh out your argument and to find sources.
Right. Totally. Absolutely.
But that's a
Um,
digression from my last question, which is tell me something you love. Um, for you, I'm going to say like try to have it be somewhere in the arts.
mhm,
Normally, I ask for a comic if possible, but like books, movies, whatever. But something that you love,
mhm.
um, that not enough other people have experienced, and you need them to, so you have more people to talk about it with.
Ooh, okay. All right. So this answers are initially going to sound like a letdown because it seems like something I would so obviously say, but I'm going to have good reason for it. So,
That's fair.
I think more people should watch both the 1998 Cats Pro Shot and the 2019 movie one after the other or within a
Okay.
short span of time because you want to understand what that show was originally about on the stage first before you judge the show based on only the discourse about it, not having seen it, and before you see the 2019 movie. I am not a psycho. I acknowledge that the 2019 movie was garbage. I know that. I like it because I'm weird. But if you understand the angle that the first movie was taking, you can more clearly understand why this movie wasn't just cringe, but what specifically about it wasn't aligned with this vision that I think amounted to an excellent piece of art in the original
Okay.
one, but that was ignored almost completely in the second movie and replaced with just this general weirdness and uncanniness that made it so bad, especially when combined with like genital jokes for no reason. Um,
So now I
yeah.
have to ask the $1 million question, and you
Hmm.
could break my heart with the wrong answer here. Have you read The Elliot?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I have. Yeah,
Okay.
oh, of course. Well,
Okay.
in all honesty,
Well, there are people who don't even know. So, like,
Well, here's the thing. So the
I
original
had high hopes because you seem to be somebody who, when you love something, you want to know everything.
Right, right, right.
But there
Well,
are
my
people who even go, "Oh, I love cats."
right.
Oh, so you've read Old Possum? Old what?
Are you kidding? Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, no, don't worry. Like my grandpa gave me a copy of that long, long, long ago and I cracked it open, thought they were cute, didn't think anything more of it, but I read that first. So
Okay.
here's the thing though. Sometimes you'll ask people that and simply by having watched Cats, you kind of have read the book.
There's
Just
truth
because
to that.
there's a couple poems that weren't included. But
There's
most
truth to
of
that.
that book is just in the musical. But yes, I have read the book. I have like two or three copies of the book.
Yeah,
So,
there
yeah,
is truth to that.
yeah.
I I might have to, and I'm so bad at watching things lately. Um,
Well, and
I have trouble sitting down and like watching and not reading at the same time.
right, right. Well, and,
Um,
Julie, quickly, one reason why it's so important to appreciate that book of poems first is that, okay, the thesis of the show is that things that are silly or things that are absurd deserve respect because they have more depth than you understand. If you read the book, which is a book of children's poetry by one of the greatest poets who's ever lived, you understand that this is a book about these sophisticated adult characters who are thought of as diminutive and silly by everybody, including children. And yet, T.S. Eliot is respecting children enough to trust that they'll understand exactly the adult archetypes he's talking about.
You
I
mean
don't
that
mean
people used to write for children in a way that respected them?
I know. Exactly. Exactly, exactly. So, understanding having read the book first in
Right.
context and understanding the authorial intent of the book and kind of understanding why it's so cool and why it, like, Beatrix Potter, which also talked
Yeah.
about animals in a way that framed them in an adult context while celebrating the diminutiveness, like Winnie the Pooh, the original books. Um, it is actually perfectly artistically represented in its primary thesis by the stage show. And just unfortunately, the 2019 movie just threw that thesis out the window. Doesn't mean it's not a good time, it's just not faithful to the core idea of the books or original show, like in any
Well,
way.
they probably didn't trust their audience.
Yeah, and I
That's a
understand
huge
that.
problem with Hollywood right now. I mean,
Right.
I don't even just say that based on what I see. I know enough people. There's enough crossover, particularly among writers, between comics and Hollywood that like I know that a major frustration of people
Right.
writing there because they need to because they make more money there
Right, 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 right. Exactly. Right, right, right. Well,
is
was that
like,
satisfactory?
yeah, that works.
Good,
That
good.
works. That
All
works.
right, awesome.
So
Well, thank you
Alexander,
again.
it has been a blast. Um
Oh, it has
for
been such a blast. Thank you
yeah.
so much for this, Tad. This has been just incredible.
Alexandra Bowman can be found at alexanderbowmanart.com, on Instagram as Alexandra Bowman Art.
Trying to make it easy for you.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen one that was something else, but maybe that one's gone.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And then
um,
the costume Instagram is A Bowman Costumes, and once you got
A
that,
Bowman comes.
all
Yeah,
good.
no, that one's pretty crazy. And you also write and draw for the Counterpoint, but give her, if you're gonna subscribe to her state of the arts Substack, because then she gets all of the money
Right.
rather than
You got
like
you got to do a
a
paid.
very minuscule. You're
Yeah.
gonna do the paid subscription,
Right.
state of the
Exactly.
arts.
Right. Right.
Um, it's been a blast, and for 22 panels, we will see you after the next page. We're we're having this slow screen, so this might be recording because I got tired of the silence,
Right. Right.
but I'm
Right.
getting the circle as I hit the stop button. Ah, there we go.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.